think that there are some sort of almost universal truths about human nutrition that is going to benefit the vast majority of people. There are always outliers who need to eat in a very specific and in some cases a very extreme way to optimize their health. But the vast majority of people would benefit, and especially if we're talking about like body composition and muscle growth, from eating whole foods, unprocessed foods. So meat, fruit, and vegetables, and maximizing and prioritizing protein. And that is especially for women because we tend to not eat enough, generally speaking. Again, it's sort of like this weird gendered thing where if you eat too much protein, you're going to get fat, or that's kind of heavy, or it's not, So we tend to look more towards like salads and things like that, which are fine. There's nothing wrong with a salad, but put some meat in it, put some protein in it. So yeah, the vast majority of people are going to benefit from the basic starting point of prioritizing each meal, each plate with a reasonable for you amount of protein, and then you sort of fill it in with healthy carbs and fats as per your preference, as per your sort of digestion and your goals. So some people are going to do a lot better with a higher fat if they're possibly trying to lose body fat, if they are trying to get fat adapted, get into ketosis, not think about food so much. Maybe if you are training super, super hard hours a day, if you're an endurance athlete, you're probably going to want more carbs than the average person. But again, you can do that in a very whole foods way. So yeah, I mean, that's again kind of the starting point. And then from there, you need to do the tweaks of like figuring out like what your basic sort of caloric intake should be, how much of that should be protein, how much of it should be the other macronutrients, and play around with sort of the details. But that's really kind of the starting point. But I wrote a cookbook about nose to tail eating. Specifically, we're talking organ meats, which is a pretty niche topic. Not a lot of books out there that are focusing on organ meats, but that's exactly why I wrote it. Because if we are having the conversation around optimizing human nutrition and doing it in a sustainable, ethical, non-wasteful, and incredibly nutrient-dense way, we have to start incorporating all parts of the animal. And I could, of course, rant in any direction you want on that, but I just really, what I wanted to do with the book was sort of just start a conversation about being open-minded about the topic, being willing to kind of try new things, and also just understand the benefits of something that we, again, have been taught is weird, extreme, gross, and actually is completely normal and beneficial to our health, and is something, eating nose to tail I'm talking about, is something that humans have done throughout history and still do most places in the world. It's really kind of almost more of like a Western world thing maybe, but modern culture that we've created this sort of big box grocery store world where we can buy cheap steaks and that's all we eat. And if we, see liver, we think that's gross and that's not for us, when we're really throwing away the most nutrient dense and potentially very delicious parts of the animal. So that's really kind of what I set out to do, was just show people not only that it can be healthy and that it can be good for the planet, good for you, but also that it just makes sense. It just makes sense from a human nutrition perspective to eat nose to tail.